Welcome to Sepi, your all-in-one business management platform. In this short video, we'll guide you through the essential steps to get started with Sepi. When you first log in, this is what you'll see, your dashboard. Here, you get a quick overview of your business, including stats on new customers, new orders, cash collected, expenses, and profits for a specific period. On the left, notice the sidebar. It contains different sections of the system, well organized with titles for easier navigation. First, let's set up your financial accounts. These accounts help track the money coming into and going out of your business. In the sidebar, go to the Accounting section and click on Transactions. Here you'll see all transactions across all accounts. We've already created a default cash on hand account for you, which you can see when you click on the Select Account dropdown. You can add the opening balance of this account to match your current balance by clicking Add Opening Balance, enter the amount, and save. To add other accounts like your bank account, simply click the Select Account dropdown and choose Add New Account. Fill in the details, then save. Adding expenses in Sepi is simple. Right here from the Transactions page, click Add Expense. Alternatively, you can go to Expenses under Accounting in the sidebar and click Add Expense. Provide a description, select the category or create one. Choose the paying account, enter the amount, and upload a receipt if available, then save. The expense will show right there. Now let's see how to add products and services. In the sidebar, go to Products and Services. Here, you'll see a list of all your products and services. To add a new product, click Add Product/Service in the top right. Fill in the details. Sepi allows you to create physical products with inventory tracking, services, digital products, and bundles. Bundles are basically a collection of other products and services usually sold at discount when bought together. For this example, let's create a physical product, say a t-shirt. Once added, you'll see the Product Details page, where you can manage its inventory if it's a physical product. You can also add an image for easier identification by clicking Edit Main Image. Inventory management in Sepi is straightforward. On the Product Details page, you can increase or reduce inventory. To see the full inventory list, go to the sidebar under Purchases and Inventory and click Inventory. You'll see your current inventory value and available stock for each item. Clicking on an item will take you to the Inventory section of the product details. The Purchases section helps you track the products you've bought. You can see all purchases by purchase number or by product. To add a new inventory purchase, click Add New Inventory Purchase. Fill in the details, including the vendor or supplier details, products, and payment details. Then save. Your inventory quantities for the physical products will increase automatically, and you will be able to see the purchase details, including the products, payments, notes, and attachments. When you're ready to record a payment for a purchase, click Record a Payment. Fill in the details and save. If your business makes finished goods using raw materials, the Manufacturing section is for you. Under Manufacturing in the sidebar, you'll find Recipes and Production Orders. A recipe defines the raw materials needed to produce one unit of another product. To create a new recipe, click Add Recipe. Give it a name and description. select the main output product. In the Input Raw Materials section, add the raw materials and quantities. If this recipe produces additional products along with the main output product, you can add those in the Extra Output Products section. Then save this recipe. You can now use this recipe for your production orders. A production order is basically the process used to turn raw materials into intermediate products or finished goods. To create a new production order, go to Production Orders under Manufacturing in the sidebar and click New Production Order. Select the main output product, the planned output quantity, and the recipe. Once the recipe is selected, the input raw materials and extra output products will be automatically added in the correct required quantities. Then save. You will be taken to the Production Order Details page where you will see that the production order is in pending status. Before the production order is started, you must have sufficient raw materials in inventory to support this production order, which will be highlighted by green or red for insufficient inventory. Then you can start the production order and the status will be changed to In Progress. When production is done, you can complete the production order and fill in the actual outputs and record any direct expenses incurred during that production order. Once completed, raw materials inventory decreases, and the output products inventory increases automatically. Everything to do with customers and orders is found under Sales in the sidebar. To add a new order, click Orders and then Create New Order. Fill in the customer details if the customer is not already in the system. Add the products and services. Include any discounts, taxes, and delivery fees if applicable. Add the payment details and save. The order will be created and the order status will be processing. You will be able to see the order details including order number, order amount, payment status, customer details, products, payments, invoices, notes, and attachments. If the order is not yet paid and you would like to create an invoice to send to the customer, simply go under the Invoices tab and create an invoice for this order. Once the invoice is created, it will appear under the Invoices tab. You can click that invoice to view it and download it as a PDF or email it to the client straight from Sepi. You can customize your company details that appear on the invoice like your logo, address, and contact details by clicking your name in the top right corner and selecting Profile. Then Business Information. Fill in your company details and save. Now, when we go back to the order details and select the invoice, you will see that your company details now appear on the invoice. When the customer makes payment for the order, click Record a Payment, enter the details and save. The payment will now appear under the Payments tab on the order details. You can get a PDF receipt, send the receipt via email, or print the receipt. To complete the order and reduce inventory quantity of the products, click Mark Order as completed. Another way to create orders is to use the point of sale. In the sidebar under Sales, click Point of Sale, POS. Here you can simply search for and click the products being taken by the customer. The products will appear on the right in the current order. Then you can select the customer, payment details, and delivery details if applicable and complete the order. Once the order is completed, you can send the receipt by email, download PDF receipt, or print the receipt. You can view your customer list by clicking Customers in the sidebar under Sales. You can click on a customer to see their details. You will be able to see a snapshot of the customer performance with their total orders, total order value, total paid, and average order value. You can also see the orders this customer has made and any attachments and notes. Now that you've got an overview of Sepi, it's time to invite your team. Go to the sidebar under Admin and click User Management. You should see users and user roles. First, create user roles, which define permissions or access which that role will have in Sepi. Add role in the top right. Give the role a name, for example, accountant. Then select the permissions this role has and save. You can add as many roles as you need. Now we proceed to adding a user. In the sidebar under Admin section, click User Management and then Users. Click Add New User. Enter the user details and assign them a role or manually give them permissions and save. The user will receive an email notifying them that they have been granted access to Sepi and to complete their account setup. Once they confirm, they will have access and will be included for billing purposes. In many cases, when you have a team, there may be some processes that need approvals from supervisors, and that's where Sepi forms come in. You can create any type of form and add approval workflow steps to it so that members of your team can easily make requests online and have them approved or rejected. To create a form, go to Admin under the sidebar and click Forms. Here you will see your forms and their statuses. Click Create a new form. For this example, we are going to create an expense request form, but you can create any kind of form you want. Give your form a name like Expense Request Form, add a description, and then add form fields. On the right, under the form preview, you will be able to see a live preview of the form you are creating. So let's add some form fields. The form fields are basically the information you want to capture when someone fills in this form. Field type is basically what kind of input this is, and you can choose from any of the available options like text, long text, phone number, drop-down, and more. Let's start with date. The field label is the title above the field that describes what the field is for. So for our example expense request form, we can use date required. And you can see in the form preview, we now have a date field. Then we select whether this field is mandatory and is required before the form is submitted. Let's add another field for purpose of funds. This one can be a long text field. We can add another field for the expense category. This can be a drop-down. For drop-down options, you can either define your own list of options or use available system options. For this case, since we already have expense categories in the system, we will select System Options under drop-down Options type, and then choose Expense Categories. As you can see in the form preview, it has added the drop-down, and when you click it, it shows the expense categories. Then we can add another field for the amount of money being requested. We can say the field type is money and label is amount. Then, let me just add another drop-down field that uses your own options as an example. So click Add another field. For field type, we choose drop-down. Field label, say, how critical is this expense? Then this time, for drop-down options type, we select User-Generated. Now we have to add the drop-down options. Click the drop-down options field, and a pop-up will appear for you to add options. For this case, let's say we want low, medium, and high. Then click Save. When you click the drop-down in your form preview, it will show our options, low, medium, and high. Once you are happy with the form, click Save Form. The form is now created, and you can see that the form is currently inactive and has no workflow. This means the form is not yet available for users to submit their requests. We now need to add an approval workflow to this form. An approval workflow specifies the steps a request must follow in order to be approved. So we click Edit Workflow. We are taken to the Visual Workflow Builder. The Visual Workflow Builder works by dragging and dropping blocks from the left panel onto the canvas. Blocks are categorized into approvers and conditional. Approver blocks specify who will approve the request at that stage, whether it's the direct supervisor of the requester or another designated approver. Conditional blocks determine the workflow's path based on the specific conditions you've set. Let's see it in action. So for our expense request, we can say that the first approver should be the direct supervisor of the requester. You simply drag the supervisor block from the blocks panel on the left and drop it near the block already in the canvas. Then from there, we might want to check certain conditions in order to determine the next approver. We need a conditional block for this. So in the blocks panel, we select the conditional tab and drag the if/else block and attach it to the last supervisor block. Notice that another panel opens up on the right. We use this to define the conditions. Starting with the condition type. All conditions below means that all of the conditions we are going to add must be met for the result to evaluate to yes. Any one of the conditions means that the result will evaluate to yes if at least one of the conditions is met. For this one, we can say all conditions. Then, we begin adding the conditions. The conditions are based on the fields of the form we are creating this workflow under. So we can add a condition for the amount. Say, if the amount is greater than a certain figure. We can add another condition to check how critical the expense is. So maybe if it is high, and save. The conditions will now be displayed in the block, allowing us to define the actions for both yes and no outcomes. Simply drag the yes and no blocks to the if/else like this. Then we can add different approvers based on the conditions. So we go to the Approvers tab in the Blocks pane and drag Approver Account. An approver account is a special account that assigns users to handle approval requests directed to that account. So in this case, for example, we can create a new approver account for Budget Checker by clicking New Approver Account. Give it a name and description and then add users to the account so they can access and manage the approval requests. Save the approver account and it will be added to the drop-down of approver accounts so you can save. We can add a different approver in case the conditions result is NO. When you are happy with the workflow, click Save this workflow in the top right corner. Now you can go back to the form details and you will notice that this form now has workflow set to yes. To make this form accessible to others in the team, simply turn the workflow to active and the form to active as well. Your team can now access the forms and submit requests by going to the sidebar and clicking My Requests. Under My Requests, you can see all the requests that you have made and their approval status. To make a new request, click New Request, select the form, and fill in the details. Once this request form is submitted, it will go through the predefined workflow steps for approval. On the Request Details page, you can see the timeline of the steps the request has undergone. Approvers at each stage will be notified to review the request and either approve or reject it. Approvers can access and manage tasks from the Approval Tasks section in the sidebar. An approval task has the options to reject, approve, or request clarification. That's it. You're now ready to start using Sepi to efficiently manage your business. For more in-depth tutorials, visit our YouTube channel, or if you need assistance, feel free to contact our support team. Welcome to Sepi.